Good evening and welcome to the fastest half hour in the cryptid world, This Week in Bigfoot, the news show that scours the internet and the Bigfoot community to bring you the people, places, and stories making headlines around the Bigfoot world. Then we take it and wrap it up in a nice, neat 30-minute package. If it has to do with Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and the Wildman, we've got it all covered. And let me tell you, it looks like we've got another jam-packed show on tap for tonight. Bigfoot research pay to play. We'll take a look at how some groups may be more interested in turning a profit than actually finding Bigfoot. Mike Luci's got a pair of Bigfoot videos for us to take a look at, along with the latest film from Outcast Paranormal. Snowwalker takes on Thinker Thunker in a brand new 2 Minutes With, and the Freeman Bigfoot Files gets read and reviewed. These stories and a whole lot more, so you better buckle up because we got a long way to go and a short time to get there. Let's go.
911, what are you reporting?
He's walking upright like a man.
We someone or something crawling around out here.
But he went back up the mountain.
Get somebody out there.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know. He's all black and big. He is big.
The quest to prove Bigfoot's existence continues to captivate the imaginations of people around the world. With the temptation of encountering a Bigfoot, some individuals and organizations are taking advantage of this opportunity to turn a profit and literally cash in on the Bigfoot craze by offering Bigfoot excursions and outdoor group investigations for a substantial fee. Here we are now 18 shows into our first season, and I figured it was just about time for us to take a look at a few of these pay-to-play Bigfoot expeditions and discuss reasons why some of them may be more focused on turning a profit than conducting actual scientific research. And remind you that it's important to approach these ventures with a critical eye. As we all know, the potential for hoaxes, scams, and false sighting reports looms large in this circle. Ever since Finding Bigfoot first premiered on Animal Planet back in May of 2011, Bigfoot expeditions have become big business, with prices ranging from a few $100s to $3,500 per person. These trips often promise participants the opportunity to explore known Bigfoot hotspots, learn from experienced researchers, and potentially witness a Bigfoot sighting firsthand. Sounds like a good time. However, it's crucial to question the motivations and credibility of some of these excursion providers, as their business model relies heavily on return customers and word-of-mouth advertising. For example, the BFRO has 11 trips scheduled for 2023, and according to the group's website, each participant must pay between $300 and $500 for a 3-night trip, depending on the location. Group sizes for each trip generally range from 10 to 40 people, depending on the trip's organizer. The BFRO trips only provide access to certain undisclosed locations that they claim are hot with Bigfoot action. They do not provide any additional amenities or services. On the website, the BFRO states that all monies raised, and it's between $4,000 to $10,000 per trip, you can do the math, covers organizational efforts, whatever they are, and any local permits or fees. The only supervision or guidance on these trips is usually one local BFRO member who volunteers his or her time to get newcomers familiar with the group's process, and then they usually start looking for Bigfoot themselves on the trip. Why not? They're there, right? That's what they do. All participants must also sign a non-disclosure agreement that states that they are not allowed to tell anyone outside the BFRO or the group that they're with where they went or return to investigate that area without being on an official BFRO expedition. So no sharing. Our Mike Luci was jumped into the BFRO last year and had this to say about the group's expeditions.
Yeah, from my experiences, it really depends on the expedition organizer. You have some that have these strict hour-by-hour, minute-by-minute itineraries. You have others that are more lax and laid back and just kind of let the attendees do what they want or dictate what they want to do. I guess the other variable is what type of activity you have when you do night ops or go out in the field. Some organizers, they'll pick out specific locations, go here one night, go here the other night. But if you have crazy activity at one night, they might be compelled to go back that second or third night. Some wind up spending all their night outings in one spot solely based on that. So I guess it's really depends on those two variables. I mean, in my experiences, every expedition I've been on has been a pretty pleasant experience. Very well run, well organized, met some really nice people. So if anyone ever has the opportunity to go on one of these, I definitely recommend it.
For the past 5 years, Todd Standing Sylvanic Bigfoot has been offering numerous trips into Canadian Bigfoot territory. Currently priced at $3,500 for a 7-day adventure, Todd's excursions include all meals, ground transportation, camping gear, and any technical equipment you may have forgotten. And the groups are generally small, around 3 or 4 customers per trip. But with Todd's trips, you know what you're going to get. All Sasquatch, all the time. As Todd states here, as he briefs a couple just prior to entering the woods, where he claims a family of Bigfoot currently live.
But this Sasquatch troop over here, I've been around them a few times. They're not angry. I wouldn't be taking you here if I thought our lives were in danger.
While most Bigfoot expedition organizers genuinely believe in the existence of Bigfoot, and I mean why wouldn't they, and aim to provide an authentic experience, the financial incentives involved can create an environment ripe for hoaxes and false sighting claims. The desire to satisfy paying customers and generate positive reviews can tempt some groups to stage evidence, fabricate sightings, or misinterpret natural phenomena as being Bigfoot related. I mean, after all, if nothing ever happens on these trips, why would anyone go? This raises concerns about the integrity of some of the experiences being offered and the potential exploitation of participants' hopes and expectations. Now, it's important to note that not all Bigfoot expeditions are scams or driven by profit alone. Some groups genuinely strive to conduct responsible research, prioritize scientific integrity, and provide educational experiences for each participant. These groups often partner with reputable researchers and emphasize the importance of evidence-based investigations. In conclusion, pay-to-play Bigfoot expeditions and outdoor group investigations have gained popularity among enthusiasts seeking a thrilling encounter with the legendary creature. However, it's important to approach these ventures with a discerning mindset and realistic goals. So if you're into camping and making new friends with those also interested in Bigfoot, then these trips are most likely for you. But if you're going out there expecting to have an encounter or actually see and film a creature, then all I can say is P.T. Barnum was right.
Our friends at Outcast Paranormal recently released the long-awaited Part 2 of their Skunk Ape Experiments trilogy, where things get even weirder.
What do we hear out there?
Please stop. Please stop.
I heard please stop. Do this for real. It's kind of, blow the sky open. And
We continue to see how the team thinks outside the box when it comes to researching this phenomenon, while pushing themselves to the brink in ways no other researchers have done. Part 1 left off with RPG mirror gazing, Stacy Brown reciting the hymn to Pan at the Crowley Museum, and loads of unanswered questions about the Rogers property. Part 2 gets to what went down at the Crowley Museum following Brown's hymn to Pan recital. The team got some eerie spirit box activity, during which we meet Stacy's good friend Beth. After revealing what he saw in the shadows during his mirror gazing, RPG leaves off this part of the doc, setting up a whole new light-based experiment. We get introduced to some new witnesses, including a filmer of the infamous Mayaka skunk ape footage, who talks about a pretty disturbing discovery he made out in that same field.
Four-legged, so he was doing this motion.
I'm not thinking anything but, a four-legged creature. I can't think of anything that would be on 4 legs. I never thought it would be possibly a skunk ape until probably 10, 15 years later.
We see more appearances from Mr. Rogers, a radio interview featuring Skunk Ape himself, even a quick hockey mention from RPG and a hog hunt. Great timing with the Florida Panthers' recent Stanley Cup final run. The Skunk Ape Experiments covers a number of different story arcs with lots of twists and turns, from hog hunts, field operations, and witness interviews, to their investigations at the Crowley Museum and Rogers property. There's a lot going on, and the scenes jump from one arc to another, so you gotta pay attention in order to appreciate this film. And despite getting some questions answered about Part 1, don't get too comfy, because Part 2 ends with an even more intense cliffhanger that resets the wait clock for Part 3. You can now watch the Skunk Ape Experiments Part 2 on Amazon Prime Video. For more information on Outcast Paranormal, check out the video's description.
The Freeman Bigfoot Files is a captivating and immersive look at Bigfoot researcher Paul Freeman's life and work. Authored by Michael Freeman, Paul's son, the book presents a collection of evidence and personal accounts that should engage believers and skeptics alike.
There's Billy down there.
Paul Freeman first gained recognition for his discovery of Bigfoot tracks containing dermal ridges that quickly drew the attention of renowned anthropologists Jeff Meldrum and Grover Krantz. And despite criticisms and allegations of hoaxing from the likes of Renee DeHinden and Bob Titmus,
real hard skin flaked off and all that, can you really see dermal ridges on these tracks? Think about that one.
Meldrum and Krantz invested a serious amount of time studying the casts and considered them critical pieces of Bigfoot evidence.
And when you consider the possibilities and the difficulties and the requirements for a hoaxer to do not some, but all of them, you find you run into an absolutely impossible situation.
The book takes readers on a journey through Paul's encounters with Bigfoot, starting in 1982 with his very first sighting near Walla Walla, Washington. Freeman vividly describes the towering 8-foot-tall figure covered in reddish-brown hair he encountered.
It looked kind of something like a prehistoric man, except he was just hairy all over, but he didn't look like a human in the face. He looked more like an ape.
Oh, there he goes.
The now famous footage captured by Freeman in the Blue Mountains region of northeastern Oregon in 1994 also receives a fair amount of attention in the book, although the tape's low resolution prevents anyone from proving its conclusive proof of Bigfoot's existence. The Freeman Bigfoot Files focuses on the most compelling evidence from the researchers' investigations in the Blue Mountains, while also providing an intimate portrayal of Paul Freeman, the dedicated father. Michael Freeman, the author, offers a personal perspective as Paul's son, sharing the impact of his father's encounters on the family life, an aspect rarely explored in Bigfoot literature. What really sets this book apart is its innovative use of technology. QR codes throughout the pages grant access to never heard or seen before audio and video recordings, including interviews with Freeman and others involved in his research.
I have people all the time that want to go. I don't take a lot of people up there because it's just most of the time a babysitting situation, and I don't like to have to babysit anybody.
This unique feature truly enhances the immersive experience, allowing readers to directly engage with Paul's work. Now, for those who don't like turning pages, the Kindle edition offers clickable links and easy access to these audio and video files. The Freeman Bigfoot Files stands out in the world of Bigfoot literature as a one-of-a-kind immersive experience. It sheds an endearing light on Paul Freeman, providing an intimate glimpse into his personal life and Bigfoot research. Now, as a researcher, I firmly remain on the fence regarding the legitimacy of the Bigfoot caught in Freeman's films. That's just the way I feel. And while the book could have used a copy editor, as there were a few spelling and grammatical errors, this did not stop me from enjoying the book. After reading and rereading the hardcover edition mailed to me by Doug Hychek for the purpose of this review, I thought it presented a comprehensive and engaging narrative, highlighting Paul Freeman's contributions to the field of Bigfoot research and his impact as a devoted father. Whether one believes in Bigfoot or not, the Freeman Bigfoot Files offers a unique and compelling perspective of one man's lifelong pursuit of the legendary creature. It invites readers to explore the evidence and immerse themselves in the world of Bigfoot research. This book is a must-have for anyone interested in the subject or those seeking an intriguing and thought-provoking journey into the life and work of Paul Freeman. Well done, Michael. And like everything else on This Week in Bigfoot, I will put the links in the description as to where you can buy it, and you should.
If you own a thermal imaging device, what color palette do you use? I only ask because a lot of casual researchers probably don't realize those filters you can sift through aren't just for show. Many work better in certain conditions, so it gives researchers a great opportunity to learn which palettes better suit the environments they're investigating. With more than a dozen different color palettes available, here are a few we believe could be the most effective for squatchers. Our first one here is White Hot. This is the most common color palette you'll see, and as a result, probably the most used. White Hot displays high infrared energy as white and lower energy as black, with shades of gray in between. It offers simple contrast for hunting, surveillance, and search and rescue, so this, along with its versatile use, make this palette great at capturing shifting landscapes with realistic detail. Next we have Black Hot. This counterpart of White Hot indicates warmer temperatures with blacks and dark grays. It can be effective to use in high temperatures like during the summer months, because unlike White Hot, where hotter signatures will get whited out in high temperature environments, the darker colors Black Hot uses to indicate hot signatures will still be able to make out subtle details. Alright, then we have Rainbow. Rainbow employs blues, purples, and greens for lower temperatures, transitioning to warm reds and yellows for hotter ones. It excels in detecting subtle temperature variations in low-contrast surroundings, captures multiple heat layers, and offers distinct contrast in outdoor settings. It's ideal for locating objects and environments with minimal heat disparity. And last, we have sepia. Sepia applies a brownish-yellowish filter, with dark brown for cool objects and bright yellow for hotter ones. Its soft palette is ideal for prolonged observation, reducing eye strain. By adding warmth to the white-hot palette, sepia minimizes fatigue during extended thermal surveillance or scouting, ensuring user comfort. Let us know in the comments which color palette you use when therming, or which of these four gives someone the best chance of catching a good image of the big guy. Whichever ones your device might not have, remember you can probably download more of them on your device brand's website. So find which ones best suit the environment you're investigating in, and happy squatching.
Tonight's edition of This Week in Bigfoot is sponsored by Broken Branch Designs. From outerwear and clothing to home and garden decor, Broken Branch Designs has everything to do with Sasquatch. For more information, visit brokenbranchdesignsllc.com. All right, I can tell by the clock on the wall that once again it is that time, folks. It's the part of the show where we were just dumb enough to give content creator Michael Merchant, aka Snowwalker Prime, screen time to speak his mind and get what's ever bothering him off his chest. Now, Snowwalker will be out of the office next week, taking some time off for a much-needed vacation, but being the constant professional he is and not wanting to leave us hanging or having to fill the segment, Snowwalker's made preparations so we wouldn't be without him. So here he is now in part one of a very special 2-episode rant. Love him or hate him, this is 2 Minutes With.
Echo Station 3PA. Spotted Imperial Walker. Imperial Walker. Echo Station 3PA. We have spotted Imperial Walker. Imperial Walkers on the North Ridge.
Look, I know you're leaving the country, but I need you to be funny. Look, I don't have an unlimited amount of funny. Wasn't this good enough? I can't produce this kind of evidence every week, you know. I'm not asking you to produce a disembodied Bigfoot head every week. Just this week, could you do 5 minutes instead of 2? And could you be extra special funny? More funny than normal. Because, you know, people are expecting a lot. They've been knocking them out of the park. Great job, by the way. Can't give you enough accolades. Look, man, I'd love to help you out, but I'm headed out of the country. This is the best I got. This is the best I got right here. I don't have a backup to this. I gotta admit, the disembodied head is pretty funny. Got 100% confidence in you. I know you can pull it off. Look, it's not a rush, but I need the finished edit in 6 hours. Well, we're waiting. What do you suggest I do? Dance like a trained monkey? Look, it's not up to me to tell you how to be funny. Just be funny. Be funnier. Can you be funnier? You know what would be really great? If you could be funnier than last week. So have you seen the body DNA? It's a brand new field of science using measurements to prove that Patty is a Sasquatch. This is not DNA. Yeah, it's body DNA. Arm length, body length DNA. DNA are amino acids connected together by hydrogen bonds that transcribe all genetic information. This is not DNA. Oh, Mr. Technobabble, Mr. Sciency, Mr. I'm so smarty pant. Do you have a point? Yes, this guy's proven Sasquatch by the length. Look, see how he puts a little wiggly skeleton in there? It's amazing. What's he using? Colored strips of paper? Does he not have a measuring stick?
You have any idea what I might have in this bag? It's not heavy, it's quite light. Can you hear it? What's in there? I'll show you a little bit of it. Many colors, made out of paper.
Critical! I bring you pristine proof of Sasquatch over and over again. You know, before we go, you've got a lot to do. Gotta change the filters in the bathroom, put the dog kennel up in the dooryard, and do you have your stuff packed? Well, no, I don't, but Brendon wants me to be funny. Oh, Brendon wants you to be funny, does he? Yeah, 5 minutes of funny. I'll show him funny, Mr. Man. Look, you got a lot of stuff to do. This is not time to play with your friends. No, this is serious. Serious like a dancing monkey. I I still don't quite understand what he's trying to do with these colored pieces of paper. It's not paper, they're exact scientific measuring devices. They're not scientific measuring devices. Agree to disagree.
Hey, this thinker-thugger. Just come with me to the kitchen.
Let's face it, Todd Standing isn't exactly the poster child for reputable Bigfoot research, as his work has been debunked by some of the best in the business. Daniel Falconer, Phil Poling, Steve Coles, and even Thinker Thunker has attempted to out the controversial Canadian Bigfoot researcher. So when Todd Standing steps up and calls you a fraud and a hoaxer, it's kind of like having to catch a predator's Chris Hansen walk into the room when you're picking up your blind date at her house. You know you're going to have a bad day.
Wait at the bar for like 5 minutes and then follow me up, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
When I come out and confront him... Do me a favor and just have a seat right over there on the other side of the bar. How's it going?
All right.
Did you find a place to park okay?
Yeah.
What's your plan for tonight?
Nothing really.
Nothing really. Like so many others, he says he wasn't doing anything wrong. You ask her if she's horny.
What's wrong with that?
You ask if she does anal.
It's a question.
In a recent live stream while on vacation, when he wasn't busy putting the onslaught of haters in their place, here's what Todd Standing had to say regarding Ontario Bigfoot's Mike Patterson and his recent fantastic evidence claims.
What do you know or think about Ontario Sasquatch channel Mike Patterson? He's a proven fraud now, and I always knew it, and I didn't say it, but he's a fraud. His work is fraudulent. He's a liar. I caught him lying. There's nobody in there. I caught him lying many times, and he's been a jerk to me. And you know, I don't know what else to say.
I'd like to thank the tall ones, Brent Dillon, his new channel, Bigfoot Shenanigans, for the lead on this story. Thank you, Brent. And if you enjoy this channel and you enjoy this show, you should absolutely subscribe to Brent's new channel, Bigfoot Shenanigans. I'll put the link to it in the description. Today's episode of This Week in Bigfoot is sponsored by Got Knockers Apparel and Clothing. From hoodies and caps to soaps, keychains, and bats, Got Knockers has everything you need to show your love of Bigfoot. For more information and to shop their items, be sure to visit the Got Knockers page on Facebook at facebook.com/Got Knockers. Hey, Got Knockers?
All right, we've got a double header for you tonight. 2 videos, both found on the Cryptid University Facebook page. Let's get started. This first video was reportedly taken in Cleveland County, North Carolina. It does look unusually grainy, but seems pretty convincing at first glance, despite its lack of timestamp. I even found a few other Bigfoot reports coming out of Cleveland County, which could give credence to this footage. But here's why none of that matters. That logo on the bottom right of the video reads, Legends Beware. It matches the logo of a YouTube channel with that same name. They feature a sundry of videos, including 2 full-length films. I even saw one of them called Bigfoot the Conspiracy, and figured this so-called game cam footage came from one of these 2 movies. But I was half right. I reached out to Legends Beware, who clarified the trail cam footage did in fact come from their YouTube channel. They said it was one of a few sightings videos they made a while back, which they confirmed were all fake, and had since been removed. Again, I'm by no means saying Cryptid University made this video, but for the record, if you're going to try to hoax like that, don't cut corners on compromising details. So that first one was pretty cut and dry. This next one, however, has been a little more contentious. According to Cryptid University, this video was recommended by several of their followers, which appears to have originated from a YouTube channel called Bigfoot Experience. We have no knowledge of the video's backstory, just that it's a father recording his daughter. I mean, it's not uncommon for parents to film or photograph their kids. I'm not sure about you, but those images take up a huge portion of my social media feeds nowadays. Commenters were torn on whether the girl and her father's alleged obliviousness to both figures gives credence to the figure's authenticity or fabrication. Your believers say the girl and father both acted perfectly natural, while skeptics say the girl's pauses or camera angles that caught both figures were too timely and therefore staged. It's also worth noting the recorders seemed to be heading in the same direction that the second figure was moving, which others also noticed and could be ambiguously interpreted. In addition to the girl and recorder's suspicious movements, skeptics also argue the girl and cameraman should have heard the figure's footfalls. Other possibilities brought up included the proverbial guy in a suit and CGI. What do you think? Remember to check out Cryptid University and Legends Beware on YouTube, Facebook, and other social media outlets. And while we debunked our first one, let us know in the comments if you think the second video has a better chance of being fact or hoaxed.
Now, before we get into the Legend Meets Science 2 update, I just want to stop and talk about something. While looking through the data from last week's show, I noticed that only 42% of the people who tuned in and watched the show are subscribed to our channel. 42%. So if you're watching this right now and you're part of the other 58% that aren't subscribed to CARC Universal, go ahead right now and do it. It's right there. I'll wait. All right, now that that's taken care of, This Week in Bigfoot is the only place you will find constant updates from Doug Hychek on the progress of Legend Meets Science 2's filming. Here's what we got from Doug this week. Hey Brendon, hope you're well. Here's what's been going on. We worked on our Sasquatch Alba Vernix sebum surface skin lipid collection project last week. We placed it on a 3/8-inch piece of blue Lexan. It was torn from a tree 8 feet up, where it had been bolted to the tree using 4-inch long deck bolts. We had to use a drone to try and find it. All the best, Doug Hychek. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Lexan, here's what it looks like. It's a piece of hard plastic, 3/8 inch thick. And they bolted it to a tree 8 feet up in the air using these 4-inch long deck screws. And overnight, someone or something ripped it off the tree because it was covered in their DNA, their fake DNA stuff, the Seba album Vernix, and they couldn't find it. They had used the drone to find it the next day. So some strange shit's going on up there in Minnesota, and we will continue to keep you posted. It's time to catch you up to speed on a couple of recent Bigfoot podcasts and live streams. First up, Lilith Dread, Park Rangers' Terrifying Encounters. In the latest upload from the Dread's 39th compilation of witness accounts, we hear from a park ranger that stumbled across someone or something they will never forget. Check it out.
This thing is no regular forest animal, not by a long shot. It was massive, standing on 2 legs like a man, but it was no man that I have ever seen, covered in head to toe in these shimmering green scales, and the eyes were glowing like 2 embers in the dark. It gave me shivers, for sure. Its hands, or rather claws, they were something out of a nightmare. They were long and razor sharp, and that tail was long and serpentine, and the thing was twitching and coiling around like some kind of a snake. So I'm standing right there, right, frozen like a deer in the headlights, and this thing, it turns and looks right at me. I can see the moonlight glinting off of its scales. And for a moment, just for a moment, we lock eyes. Now, you all might not believe me, but in that moment, I swear it felt like this creature was reading me, like looking into my soul.
Next up, it's Monsters on the Edge, episode 10, Tracking the Florida Skunk Ape with Stacy Brown Jr. In this clip from last Monday's live broadcast, Stacy sits in to talk all things skunk ape on Untold Radio. Check it out.
The cicadas were so loud you couldn't hear us walking. It had rained a little bit, so the leaves weren't really that loud when you walk. Mm-hmm. So I think all of that just kind of was the recipe, you know, just all these things happen to line up by chance. And we would hear something on our right, and we'd hear something on our left, and it sounds like something we'd just taken off and running through the woods, right? And then we turned down this trail, and we heard something coming down this ridge line. And this part of Florida is not like the rest of the state. We heard something running down this ridge, and it stops, and it stops hard. It's like, you know what I mean? So Dad stands up there with a thermal, sees this little heat signature sticking out of one side of the tree, and he thinks it's a coon, right? And then you hear like a little scurrying on the tree. It almost sounds like a coon, right? And so this is also why he's thinking it's a raccoon. And then it sticks out the other side, and he thinks it's two coons. Like, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. And I'm filming him with a handy cam, right? See, I don't actually see what he saw. All I know is he's in a panic telling me to get my gun. And it was something I never heard him say, unless it was like, you need to grab the gun.
In the third slot this week, longtime favorite and a show that checks all the boxes as far as high strangeness goes. Strange Familiars, episode 403. Here, Tim Renner interviews a man named Daryl who tells of a haunted house and a strange creature that tracks him through the forest. Here we go.
I'd made my way to the railroad tracks and was walking along. And the significance of the railroad tracks is that at that point, I was walking fairly quietly. At one point, I stopped, and it sounded like my footstep echoed. Why would my footstep echo? Okay. So I start walking again, and then I very intentionally stop. Didn't hear anything. I do this a couple times, and finally I caught it again. And I stop, and I hear a footstep behind me. Like, okay, not my imagination. What's going on here? I remember at the time a sense of this, whoever this is, they don't want me to see them because they've got the sun to their back. There was a weird element to it of not sensing someone else's thoughts, because that's not it. But it was like I could pick up on a vibe. I could kind of pick up on some intention, or I really don't know what the best word is for it, but I could just kind of, it was almost as if I could kind of get a sense of what they might be.
As summer moves along and the heat continues in the south, Bigfoot conferences continue to draw in record crowds from coast to coast. That being said, there's still only one guy we can all turn to keep us up to speed on the who's, the what's, and the wheres, and that's Chuck Larson with another great show in this week's Spotlight. Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference, July 22nd, Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Conference Spotlight.
The 5th Annual Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference is set for Saturday, July 22nd at the Gatlinburg Convention Center, Gatlinburg, Tennessee. The event runs from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and features Finding Bigfoot's Matt Moneymaker, Cliff Brackman, and Renee Holland. There will also be a Bobo impersonation contest and an opportunity to share your Bigfoot encounter live and on stage in front of the capacity crowd. Ticket packages range from $25 to $150 and are going fast. For more information and a complete list of speakers, visit the event's official Facebook page or GatherUpEvents.com. And that's this week's Conference Spotlight. Brendon, take us out.
All right, folks, it pains me to say that once again, we are all out of time for this week's show. It does go by fast, doesn't it? I'd like to thank you for watching and remind you to like and share everything we do here at the Catskill Appalachian Research Collective. Tell your friends. And if you have any questions or comments, or maybe a story for the show, you can always drop us a line at thisweekinbigfootnewscast@gmail.com. So, until next week, for Mike Luci and Chuck Larson, I'm Brendon Brown, reminding you that when it comes to getting your Bigfoot news, be informed, not biased. Take care.